definitely caught up in what is taking place. First of all, senior counsel, I mean, how did we get here? I mean, waking up as a nation one morning and hearing that the commissioner of police has been detained.
Well, apparently, what in the public domain, there was an investigation into the relation of the two sniper rifle, in which she indicated a legal importer of guns, the one Mr. Hardy, that he could import these guns for the SSR. And there was an investigation as whether the SSR could be in possession of this. And it started that investigation a couple of years ago. And they indicated, well, from the investigation, she ought not to do that.
One of the things you're asking, of course, is whether the DPP had advised the investigators to arrest the Commissioner of Police under Rule 3 of the judge's rule, or if the investigators did this on their own volition and then went to the DPP for advice as to whether they should charge the Commissioner of Police. And of course, that Rule 3 is a prosecution must only be brought for a good cause. No one should ever be prosecuted simply because he or she may have committed an offense.
Well, Rule 3 really says that the judge's rule that if the investigator is in possession of evidence to charge, they must indicate to the suspect that the person could be charged and you have the right to remain silent. And most of all, Rule 3 says you cannot ask, once you administer this judge's rule, caution the person, you cannot ask them anything about what they're investigating, but they turn around and question this Commissioner of Police for 2 days. So that is definitely wrong. So, and why they did it, we do not know. And all that shit would eventually come out into the open. The DP will have to give an explanation to the country whether he order or advise or endorse that arrest.
Is it that the main concern here is that whether the process was followed as far as the process of the law, or was it just taken upon somebody who believed that there was enough evidence, by whatever reason, to move in and detain the former Commissioner of Police?
Well, I suspect that, but we cannot really say for certain until the Director of Public Prosecutions pronounce on it. And in any event, whether they charge or do not charge the Commissioner of Police, they ought to have a Commission of Inquiry into this entire mess.
Yeah, I think what stands out here in many of your questions that you're asking, as far as that goes, it says here, if the Commissioner of Police was not authorized under the Firearms Act to issue the import permit to the gun dealer to sell same to the SSA, then why did the Ministry of National Security pay for the guns?
Well, it appears the gun was purchased with a check coming from the Ministry of National Security. We do not know what department that went to, if it went to the SSA or somebody else, because he's in control with a lot. Ministry of National Security oversee a lot of organizations. So some people say that came from the SSA, but the Ministry of National Security check. I think in a week time we will know all this. The should take longer than that.
Senior Counsel, is that the normal process, or are we seeing things here that one really has to question how this went about? Is this the normal process as far as these checks or whatever is being issued to pay for something, if it is that it wasn't authorized?
Well, that is not the normal process. That's why I asked her another question, whether she was duped by some high public officers to sign on issuing the import certificate.
Yeah, and I think
how did this happen? We don't have information. We're just trying to put things together and pieces together until the DPP pronounce on this.
Do you think that it's somewhat something that, I mean, many people when asked the question seem to have little confidence in how the process goes when after the fact, whether or not we're going to get the answers as citizens, or simply this is something that is just going to be, to ride out because it is an election year. What say you?
Well, I think they should have a commission of inquiry into it. It doesn't matter if the present government gets back in. or they remove, or the government of the day must have a commission of inquiry into this entire incident to find out what really went wrong, or whether there's more any motor than the pistol.
And you're asking what the public wants to know as well as if the Commissioner of Police committed the criminal offense of misbehavior in public office when it was committed as a result of a genuine mistake or a misunderstanding.
Yes, because she's the person who is entitled in law to receive this import certificate. So she did what she's supposed to do, but whether the conditions which existed, she ought not to. That's what I have to investigate.
No, legally, what are we looking at? I mean, because, you know, for those folks who may not be legally inclined, many are saying that, you know, this is something kind of hard to really grasp at. I mean, a sitting commissioner of police being detained, being questioned, being interrogated, and as you said, we the citizens are still in the dark. What sort of outcome might bring about a sense of understanding when everything is said and done?
Well, the DPP don't explain, because what the DPP did, he directed the investigators to go back and conduct further investigation. So that is a clear indication he is not satisfied. There's sufficient evidence to charge the Commissioner of Police. That is an indication. So, or we looking at other people, maybe who involved. I do not know. We just do not know. We have to wait until the DPP say yes or no, and if you say yes, we will hear the evidence. If you say no, we may not hear that evidence, we may not know what went on. That will cause people to want a commission of inquiry where people are compelled to say what went on.
Yeah, and we've had quite a lot of inquiries as well. Yeah, you also mentioned the role of the Police Service Commission in all of this. What was expected of them when, you know, as far as playing out in this scenario?
Well, they have no other choice, because if the Commissioner of Police is being investigated by the police for allegedly committing a criminal offense, misdemeanor, public office, they have no alternative but to suspend send the Commissioner on administrative leave with full pay until the investigation is completed, because she is in charge of the entire police service. She could have interfered in the investigation.
Yeah, definitely. Herself can't investigate herself. I mean, that in itself would raise more questions than anything else.
Well, she would have to investigate. She could really, files could disappear, evidence could disappear, or what have you. But the usual thing, if somebody is being investigated, they must not stay on in the organization. They have to take administrative leave.
Senior Counsel, how important is it that we get to the bottom of this? I mean, just how...
Well, yeah, I know you asking questions, and we, the DPP, haven't given a decision, and people asking questions, the criminal bar asking questions, or the lawyers asking questions. It's very important. It's not every day you look up a commissioner of police for doing what she's supposed to do, and then say you're supposed to do that, and then lock her up and investigate it. Why didn't quietly invite the lady to come down to the station and ask her a few questions and send her home and continue the investigation? Somebody was very spiteful.
Yeah, you believe that it should have been a lot more discreet, at least handled a lot more discreetly?
Yes, and if you arrested her, make sure you have the evidence that when you arrest her, shortly after you just charge her.
I agree with you on that one, definitely. I mean, to go through all of this and to put us under such scrutiny and to, of course, affect the trust of the citizens, where it is that you have to question yourself. We have a commissioner of police, and allegations are circling around her. One would have thought that it would have been handled in a more professional manner. It seems as though, whether politically or not, someone had an axe to grind in this matter.
Well, it appears so. You can't undermine the entire police service by investigating the head. Usually when they do that, they have to run the borrowers. Usually you have evidence and you're charged. That doesn't mean to say you're guilty, but you have evidence to charge. But the DPP said, up till now, the DPP said a charge or not a charge. I mean, I guess in a week or 2 weeks time we will know.
Yeah, there are so many pending matters that has thrown the spotlight on the operations, the legal operations, that is it. And as a career legal mind, What are we witnessing here in our country as far as the upholding of the law?
Well, I'm trying to spot the question you're driving at, you know.
Well, I'm trying not to directly come at it because I don't want to put anything out there.
No, you could just come openly and answer you openly.
Well, what is your feeling of the whole justice system in Trinidad and Tobago at this point?
Well, it is in crisis. Nothing happened in the judges. The DPP is short by 60-something lawyers. They have sufficient lawyers to charge. Police charging and not going to court is a crisis. You have a complete breakdown soon. Management court in Forestry not working, Safanano not working, Culver, Tegishawana is working. Everything is almost at a standstill. It's a crisis.
And if I was to ask you, how much of this has been tainted by political interference?
Well, it's not really political interference. The government they don't have the political will in order to clean up the system, and the judiciary is in a mess with the Chief Justice. So it's not political interference so much as people are inept and incompetent, and they're putting resources into the judiciary, proper plea bargaining, divide money in the first, second, and third degree, what have you, have bail for, a lot of things. Come to a standstill.
Yeah, but this is not something that would have happened overnight. I mean, it would have been taken...
No, it happened years ago. People keep warning them. The Bar Association, criminal bar lawyers, last 15, 20 years, they said this will happen. And it happened. And as we're speaking now, you see things will come to a complete standstill. People will start taking the law into their own hands. And they will say, look, on a radio program, he said this. Or TV program.
And how much of this would you say has contributed to the current crime situation in our country?
About 90%. The criminals know they won't be brought to justice. They also think they won't even be caught. Much more prosecuted.
I heard on the news of a criminologist that made a statement that the SOE, the current SOE, of course, is just slowing things down. I mean, when you hear the TTPS saying that murders are down compared to the rate that it was compared to last year, but the core issue of it is not being touched, getting to the roots of it, of course. So, you know, then what is expected when this SOE is lifted, and how then are we to deal with the situation after that?
Well, how will deal? The government, they're not doing anything. If the same government gets to the power, if another party gets to the power, they might be doing the same thing. We do not know. We do not know. It happens just like this in Haiti, you know. It started like this. And then the gangsters decided who run the government and who be prime minister and in position, and we headed in that direction. We're going over a precipice, everybody just hooking on.
And what do you say to the general public? I mean, you know, there are people who are looking on. I mean, as citizens, if we lose confidence in something that keeps us from being noble savages, that gives us some sense of direction, of civility, if that does not exist, then what are we doing?
Well, we can't even say they get a new party into government because they might be in the same position doing nothing. We do not know. I just don't have the answer. I do not know.
Well, we're at this point where we have to wait to hear from the DPP. I really and truly, because I mean...
Nation to the specific case.
Yeah, because really and truly, it doesn't look good. It doesn't shed a good light on our judiciary system, and every day new things are developing, and it really makes you wonder. Any closing comments? Go right ahead.
Not really. I'm just taking one day at a time, and I hope that they could clean up the act. The people have to come together and see. Let's see after, as you've already indicated, after the SOE, crime will just escalate. It's only keeping it back a bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is, to maybe extend it again, and after election, and you get back into power, then see what you could do. That must be the plan. I do not know.
Yeah, but the core issue of it is not being approached at all. It's not something that government seems to want to look at.
Did this happen overnight? Last 15, 20 days, calling up.
Yeah, and we just see the figures going up and up.
Yes.
Nothing is happening. Senior Counsel, I want to thank you so much. I know your time is short, but I want to thank you so much for taking time out to link with us here this evening. All the best to you. Keep up your good work, and we'll be speaking with you periodically as things start to unfold.
Okay, thank you for having me. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
Right.
Well, a man of many words and straight to the point, and this is something I always say 1,000 writers in Hollywood simply cannot make up. I mean, we as citizens, how are we expected to feel when in fact that we're hearing from a senior member of the law fraternity saying that, listen, this thing is in a mess. This is chaos. I mean, you go out and you make a move which could have been done discreetly, and when you do make this public move, you don't seem to have enough evidence or whatever the case may be. Again, we await for the DPP to hear exactly what are the basis, on what grounds this move was made. But while all of that is taking place, it does nothing to build confidence into this system that many of us would rely on to keep us in some sort of civilized manner in how we live. Very sad, but that is the truth. Short break. When we come back, we'll be speaking to, of course, Couva South MP and UNC Shadow Minister of Labor, Rudy Indarsing, right here on The Observer. We'll be right back. For all top quality and affordable hardware supplies, no one beats Midland Hardware, located number 97 Eastern Main Road, Aruca. Midland stocks the #1 brands in hand tools, garden tools, water taps, power washers, generators, water pumps, kitchen and bathroom faucets, along with fixed basins and toilet sets, blocks, lumber, steel, sand, gravel, and topsoil. Also check out Midland for steel windows and assorted designs of metal curtain rods. Everything for home and business projects. Payments via links, credit cards, online payments, or cash on delivery. WhatsApp 327-7761 or call 646-2144. Open every day from 8 a.m. From foundation to finish, it's all at Midland.
The Excel brand delivers quality service. I would recommend Omega Excel to everyone. Take care of yourselves, take care of your health with Omega Excel. If Omega Excel works for me, it will work for you. Over a period of time, I started feeling stronger in my knees, I could add more pressure.
Husqvarna, a global leader in outdoor power equipment, known for its high performance, durable and innovative products, tested and proven by generations of professionals. Full after sales and service support whenever you need it. Contact Provar Distributors Limited, 223-9438 to find a dealer near you.
Oh gosh, this place hot. And the AC in this car not working.
Check Ryan Air. Ryan Air is ranked among the best in TNT for auto air conditioning service. They specialize in repairing and servicing all makes and models of vehicles and heavy equipment. They also stock a wide range of parts. Give them a call at 640-5828 or visit them at number 41 King Farm Road, Tacarigua, or email ryanairac@gmail.com. For prompt and efficient service, look no further than Ryan Air. And we're back, folks. Yes, we are back. Joining us at this time is a man who is no stranger to The Observer. Let me say a pleasant good evening to Couva South MP and the UNC Shadow Minister of Labor, Rudy Indarsing. Pleasant good evening to you, comrade.
Pleasant good evening to you, Mikey, and of course your listening audience on The Observer program.
Thank you so much, my friend. The Paria Justice Committee, and I know that the fact that tomorrow, I believe there's a meeting to be held at the TTPS headquarters in Port of Spain, which the committee, of course, after will share its views on the meeting with the media. And this, of course, is all about the tragic accident that took place at the Paria Oil Company. You know, one really has to ask the question, I mean, if it had not been for people like yourself and the family and other members of the media who has been keeping this entire issue in the spotlight, you know, now after all this time, you're still looking to get an update from the acting commissioner of police because it has been under investigation for some time. I mean, how has the entire process been, if you can tell us, from day one to where we are currently?
Well, this is something that will continue to be of tremendous emotional, psychological, and mental trauma for the families of the deceased divers and the lone survivor, Christopher Boudram, and of course all right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. At the end of the day, excuse me, it is one which has been shrouded in secrecy, cover-up, and a lack of what we call accountability on the part of the board of directors of PARIA and the line minister of energy and energy industries, Minister Stuart Young, and by extension the government of Trinidad and Tobago, headed by outgoing Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley. We must never forget that the board of PARIA, which is headed by Mr. Newman George, is appointed by the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago. So the cabinet headed by Dr. Rowley has the ultimate responsibility in this scenario. Where we are tomorrow is a part and parcel of what we may term to be a series of activities that has been conceptualized and convened under the auspices of the Committee for Justice as it relates to the barrier divers and so on. And you may know, as you would be a keen stakeholder in Trinidad and Tobago, advocating for accountability, transparency, and social justice in the context of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. You would know that we have had, and we have been told that there is an ongoing investigation on the part of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service as it relates to this unprecedented and unparalleled deaths in the energy sector, and from the point of view of deaths in the work environment. We were told approximately 1 year ago that the police service investigation was nearing its end. We are in the month of February of 2025, and the families have asked of myself and MP David Lee to see if they can get some kind of update as it relates to where this police investigation is. So as a result of that, they penned a letter and they wrote the Acting Commissioner of Police, Deputy Commissioner Junior Benjamin. I've been in contact with him via his office and his secretary and so on, and he has opted to give an audience to the families and lone survivor Christopher Boudram, and of course myself and MP Lee will accompany them to this meeting at Police Headquarters Building, Port of Sackville Street and Edward Street in Port of Spain. Tomorrow morning, the meeting is scheduled to begin at 10:15 a.m.
No, it's been 3 years, basically, 3 years.
Obviously.
Yeah, we've been looking on for quite some time. There was a commission of inquiry. There was a lot of talk. There was a lot of finger pointing. At this stage, I mean, give us an idea, how is the family functioning after waiting for so long? And as they say, justice denied, justice delayed, sorry, is justice denied. And how much, at this point in time, how are they functioning?
It has been very difficult mentally and emotionally. I can tell you that some of them were here to support me in my screening as I went before the screening committee of the United National Congress on last Monday. And more importantly, as I said, there's been a struggle for coming to terms with the death, the mental anguish of losing their loved ones. And if I could tell you without contradicting myself, the life of Christopher Boudram has been virtually destroyed. It has been able to hold together as a result of his wife and children and those who have supported them, like myself and others who have continued to rally around them. More importantly, they continue to hold hope that there will be a sense of justice and accountability and so on. At the end of the day, no one knows where is the recommendations that was made by King's Counsel Lynch into this Parry report. This is a gentleman who recommended, without accepting any sense of liability, that the government should have reached out to the families from a financial compensation point of view to assist them with their day-to-day living and expenses and so on. And in spite of the government meeting with them, with Prime Minister Rowley and Stuart Young and so on, up till today, there's not an iota of a willingness to give them that financial support. On the flip side, the legal counsels who have been engaged by Parry could get legal fees to the tune of in excess of, I think, $10 million. And that is obscene, that is vulgar. That shows you where the priority of this government lies. And when opposition leader Kamala Persad-Bissessar tells the country that it is either food lawyers being facilitated by the cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, I have to agree with her in terms of the position that she has adopted in this particular manner in dealing with certain members of the legal fraternity in this country. So the lawyers could get in excess of this money for trying to, I don't know, and I mean, we have to ask the question on behalf of the families. Is it a cover-up? Is it because of certain persons involved in their golfing relationships and their appearances on golf courses with the Prime Minister that there's a cover-up on the part of the main stakeholders who have sworn to ensure that there's governance and transparency and accountability in all arms of the government? In addition to that, Minister Stuart Young, who is the incoming Prime Minister and wants you to vote on behalf of the People's National Movement, can Minister Stuart Young tell us where is the implementation as it relates to the recommendations of the Commission of Inquiry into Parry? Where is the roadmap? How many of the recommendations, have been implemented? Work continues in the energy sector, and I cannot tell you what is the status of deep sea diving regulations. What are the amendments to the Occupational Safety and Health Act? What are the what is on the legislative agenda to deal with the whole issue of corporate manslaughter? And the leader of the opposition and the United National Congress has made it very clear that they will address, an incoming UNC government will address amendments to the Retrenchment and Severance Benefit Act, will address the whole issue of health and safety standards and deep sea diving regulation, and the issue of incorporating corporate manslaughter in the context of the legislative framework of Trinidad and Tobago.
Right, so
this is why I continue.
So the thing about it, Mr. Ndar Singh, is that all that has taken place, and what you just described, basically shows that a government who does not have the will to implement any of these things to ensure that this is never repeated at any time in the future, that families and children would not have to lose their loved ones and their fathers and what have you, just by simply carrying out a job that was not overlooked by the best of standards, and yet still now, after all is said and done, after the commission of inquiry, it seems that there's absolutely nothing that has brought forward to help these families. Nothing whatsoever. And that's the thing about it. We as citizens of this country always seem not to get the right side of the stick. We always seem not to get the entire story. Because for whatever reason, the good old boys will knock glass and they will protect their interests. They will protect those who are out there, of course, doing whatever they have to do in their interests as well. And where are we left as citizens? So it really makes you wonder. I mean, what you were saying, there's something that you're right. We expected the energy minister to come out and say, listen, we have implemented some new, very stringent policies when it comes to work being carried out in the oil industry. We have set up legislation, we have put things together, but we have heard nothing about that. Nothing has done in the names of these divers to show that their life, the value of it, meant anything to the government and the powers that be and the stakeholders involved.
And you are quite right. And the accident on the rig, or the partial collapse of rig 110 in the heritage field, clearly demonstrate the lack of concern or the lack of empathy and understanding of what is happening on the energy sector under Minister Stuart Young. The energy sector is what has become a killing field, not only at Paria, but at, we have to zero in on what transpired at Naikwan with the death of Alan Lane Ramkisoon, and also the death of Rossi Mansing at this company that will succeed ArcelorMittal and so on. Yeah. And there have been other deaths in the workplace environment, Kirky and at Wassa. And in recent times, at Well Services Limited, on, as I said, Rig 110, Pete Phillip, it is abominable. It is unforgivable. It is sickening to know that after Paria and the recommendations as it relates to deep sea diving and what is occurring in the energy sector, that Pete Phillips' body is in the ocean for more than 50 days and it cannot be recovered. We have not heard from the Minister of Energy what is the recovery plan in the context of what is being pursued by Well Services Limited. Whilst Well Services may be a company in the private sector, we accept that, but it is engaged in drilling activities on a field that is owned by Heritage, which falls under the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries. This is a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, and you would think that the minister would have been leading by example and saying, well, indeed, I have been liaising with Well Services, I have been liaising with the Minister of Labour, I have been liaising with the Occupational Safety and Health Agency, I have had a site I have been privy to of an approved recovery mission as it relates to the body of Pete Phillip. You could imagine, God forbid, on that unfortunate day, that if this entire rig had collapsed, would we have been still waiting for a recovery, search and recovery as it relates to all the employees on Rig 110? I mean, we have the oldest one of the oldest oil industries in the world, and we have not been able to move in terms of labor standards and in terms of what is expected of us in emergency situation, accident situations, and as it relates to search and rescue. Will we be still waiting on a search and rescue of the entire workforce if that entire rig had collapsed 50 plus days after?
Yeah, and I'm glad that you use that statement as far as standards, because what we've seen being played out here in this entire industry is, I mean, basically the standards have fallen, and the integrity of the entire industry has been compromised. You as the shadow minister of labor, I just want to shift a little bit here on the fact that, the government intends to deal with a company with no refinery experience, what have you. You've heard the name by now, which is Oando PLC.
Yeah, I have heard.
I know we talking about.
I'm not privy to all the facts, but at the end of the day, I don't know what are the terms of this, who may stand to benefit from this from a financing point of view, and whether this award has any kickback as it relates to financing the PNM, as it relates to the upcoming general elections campaign.
Well, and again, these are the questions that we are left to ask, because if there's no clarity from government, there's no accountability, there's certainly no transparency whatsoever. When we, the citizens, start to connect the dots, we need to have these questions answered, because, yeah, these are things that we are seeing. And this is how it's unfolding. Now, when you look at the facts of the matter, this favored bidder, which is Oando PLC, has, in the past, it been suspended from 2 international stock exchanges, and certain senior officials have been accused of corruption. And there's speculation about the bidder's official representative in Trinidad and Tobago, which we don't know. Something that belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. We don't know who is the local rep. We have no idea. We are in the dark. All right, so this is being done with, listen, you don't worry about that. Whatever money we have to make, you don't need to know as citizens. Now, the company has given no guarantee of utilizing local professionals and services. Now, that might be a blessing in disguise, because if it is that the integrity of the company has to be questioned, it's no telling how they operate, when they operate, or how they function. That in itself may be below the same standard that you're talking about. And of course, they will also have difficulty in raising the US $1 billion startup capital. Now, if there's a checklist of a criteria for the company that we, the people, need in this country, this company, Oando PLC, definitely there's nothing there to tick off to show that they meet the criteria for that.
Well, there seems to be Jindal Part 2. I mean, we were told of somebody by the name of Jindal and whoever that was being foisted upon the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and there were serious allegations of financial impropriety and wrongdoing and so on. And this entity that I'm trying to get accustomed to the name and the acronym that you are referring to, there seems to be serious questions as it relates to financial impropriety, upholding labor standards and so on. And I think that we are living in the 21st century, and we must be able to defend the sovereignty of our country, the financial interests of our country, and indeed protect the interests of our citizens who may be engaged in this entity and so on. So at the end of the day, I would say that we will reject this based on the lack of accountability, transparency, and proper governance and so on. And at the end of the day, the UNC is about upholding labor standards in the work environment, and that is why we will reject this, and that is why we will continue to be part of what we call agitation in the society, calling for proper health and safety standards, regulations and so on in the work environment. And that is why that is the focus of the Committee for Social Justice as it relates to PARIA. That is why we will go to the office Office of the Commissioner of Police in the morning, Junior Benjamin. Myself and MP Lee will accompany the families and the lone survivor and so on to see where this police investigation is, why the police investigation is lingering on, and whether we expect the officers of the police service and by extension the law enforcement agencies in this country to act with a sense of impartiality and independence. Why has this not been completed and sent to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution, the DPP, for review? That is very, very important. So in addition to that, the third anniversary, which will occur on the 26th, this coming Saturday, the committee has decided to convene a memorial interfaith service at the office of the Member of Parliament for Hoover South on the constituency office ground, where trees have been planted and are growing very beautifully, blossoming very beautifully, which will be a place to convene a short interfaith service, prayers, a sense of reflection by members of the respective families. From there, we move in motorcade to the on the way to the Area Gate, the Marbella entrance on the southern main road. We'll stop off at another memorial site in Pleasance Park, which has been really consecrated, if I should use that phrase, by members of the Korban family. Right. And following which, we will go to the Area Gate, the Marbella, or what is called Point of Bear Roundabout, where we will convene a memorial solidarity service where, in addition to myself and MP Lee and the families and representative of the trade union movement, the family of Pete Phillips, whose body has not been brought to the shore, has decided to join us in solidarity and to make their voices be heard as it relates to this unfortunate situation which has occurred at Well Services, and where the Minister of Energy and Energy Industries, Stuart Young, who wants to be the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, has been treating this family with a sense of disdain, contempt, and arrogance. And we are saying whether it is one body or of any other amount, in terms of any tragic situations and so on, should be dealt with. The government has to take the leadership.
Let's share that one more. Master Control, if you can put that up, because this is happening Saturday, the 22nd. That's this Saturday, I believe. You just spoke about it, and it's the Pariah Justice Committee at 7 a.m. The wreath laying and start of motorcade to the office of the Member of Parliament for Hoover South, of course, which we have him on here at Camden Road, Hoover. And then at 9 a.m., it's going to be at the Pariah platform in front of Heritage Petroleum Petrotrin. And of course, we continue to fight for, these divers. So join in, of course, in the tribute.
Join in. You are quite right, Mickie K. Join in your vehicles. Be present at both sites because we must continue to advocate. We must tell Stuart Young, governing Trinidad and Tobago is not about cover-up, not about a lack of transparency, and it is about the ordinary citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. It is not trying to protect those who play golf with you on the golf courses of Trinidad and Tobago, and I'm sure that if you what are those who are the leaders, Pariah, those who
Go ahead.
A legal point of view, they can be found to be playing golf with the Prime Minister, and they are in a social setting and in social setting environment with the Prime Minister. And that is why we are saying that the Committee for Social Justice will not rest until there is real justice for the families and the lone survivor, Christopher
I want to commend you and, of course, MP David Lee and the entire family and everyone who has kept this the spotlight on this issue. Again, this Saturday, 22nd February, please join in with your vehicle, be part of the motorcade, join in the tribute, and join justice for these divers and their families. I want to thank you so much, Mr. Indar Singh, for being a part of the program this evening. Keep up the good work, and we will be checking in with you periodically. And of course, we will have an update tomorrow after that we will share with the public after your meeting at TTPS.
Thank you very much. And in addition to that also, we will be delivering a letter to the Director of Public Prosecution to find out what is the status of this particular issue also. Because you can remember, I don't know if you may be aware that the DPP had granted what we may call a partial audience and had promised to look into this whole scenario and the recommendations and so on, and the police investigations. And I think that the DPP owes the country to a sense of accountability as it relates to where this particular investigation has reached.
I agree with you, definitely. Thank you so much again.
Thank you very much. Have a pleasant good night.
Yeah, it always makes you wonder, as far as the small man in this country, how they are treated. This is an administration that has wiped out the middle class. And it seems that every time the small man raises his or her head trying to get somewhere, it's simply just, it's struck down. Master Control, we also have a message from the scrap iron people from Alan Ferguson. And I'll also tell you about what's going on with the Point Lisas and Port of Spain as far as the whole customs. Quite interesting. Go ahead, Master Control.
Yeah, the industry is facing what you call, you have to apply to get a license. When you apply for the license, you might get the license in 3 weeks. But before that, you have to buy the material. That is take more than 2 weeks. So 3 and 2, that is more than a month already. And then you're looking at, you have to apply for next load. That's the next 2 weeks. So that is 7 weeks. So the situation that we face is that we will like the system that they have now to change. Not just change in a way that we want ease and the security of the business, is that the way it's working is that it don't help us to do this business in a way that it is really supposed to be functioning. This business is a volume business. This business is not a business that could work 1 week and then you have to wait a whole month or 2 months to load again. But what type of business we looking at could be operating in that kind of way? If you have a grocery, you have a cloth store, and you want to just open for 1 week and close for 2 months, you think that could work? You could allow yourself to pay rent and pay your workers, because you have to keep all your workers in. Because if you don't keep them, and you don't keep them around, them going and working somewhere, because you just can't have a person working and just have them working for 1 week, and then you have to wait for more than a month to start back to work. What kind of business that is? So you want me to pay people for pay workers that they're not producing nothing? That cannot work. We are saying that you have 8 inspectors, allow the inspectors to work in different areas. One inspector cover more than about 5 to 7 yards, and then another one cover the next 6 to 7 yards, and they could continue loading. People could continue loading and operating in a better way. We could sit down after and stretch out whatever need to fix in the industry. We're ready to work with the government to fix whatever in the industry that need to fix. But we can't work with this system how it is. We're going to die. we're going to close down, we're going to stop operating. That's going to cause a serious problem for thousands of workers that work in this industry each and every single day. People depending on this industry to help them, to send the children to school, to feed the family. And what you gonna do? What you gonna do with us? Like we operating an industry like helping out and bringing foreign exchange to Trinidad and Tobago, helping the industry, helping Trinidad and Tobago by bringing in foreign exchange. We this
Thank you so much, Master Control. Yeah, right, and he's right. I mean, you can't run your business on uncertainty. It can't be open today, but you ain't sure if you could run it again tomorrow. And I mean, these people have been catching hell since this administration came into play. The entire middle class has been wiped out. And once there's an industry that you have poor people are relying on, this administration doesn't seem to like it at all. We have never witnessed, I am quite certain in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, an administration who is hell-bent on making sure that the poor just continues to suffer. And those who want to break that cycle and do something different, the opportunities do not exist. And if there's one reason for voting out this administration, it has to be about those divers. It must be about those divers. And you can't forget them. Something else here, in the Port of Spain CS and Point Lisa CS are closed. But instead of firing management or the board, whom are paid handsomely, they are firing the ground staff, who could only complain about maintenance of both buildings, but management have to say, no, these big people are on the breadline. No, these people are on the breadline, while big salaries are still being paid to the top. But one has to wonder why the Chamber of Commerce, the minister or controller, has not demanded that these stations are repaired and reopened on a timely manner. Because allegedly all have one cause: to break the system down so that proper checks of containers can't be done. The big boys get delivery authorized while small man fights up. The acting controller is a PNM appointee for the TTRA, so now the puzzle is piecing together. Also, that both buildings are under customs care, and one has to wonder if it is allegedly deliberate so the system can fall apart. And this is since October. There has been rat problems at the Port of Spain CS that cannot be solved. Once it involves the small man, once it involves the man at the bottom, the ground people who are relying on a dollar, this administration seems to have a deep-rooted hatred for anybody who can't play golf, who is not up there knocking glass and living a certain lifestyle. Let me open the lines one time so we can get this going. 225-9790. Again, 225-9790. And for those of you who I know are definitely way beyond a fixed income, you can send it you can call via WhatsApp, 494-0938. 494-0938. You heard Senior Counsel Israel Khan, but a senior member of the legal fraternity could tell you that it is in chaos, total chaos. He said it doesn't make sense. He mentioned the Chief Justice. He mentioned other senior officials, that things are just not good. And of course, we just heard from the Shadow Minister of Labour, Kuva South MP Rudenath Indar Singh, talking about the divers and the fact that nothing has been implemented since that tragedy at Paria. So, my gosh, tell me, where are we going? Yes, loud and clear. Good evening.
Good night, Mickie K. Yeah, I one of the person who will play God, so I'll call on this number.
Go ahead.
Right? Mickie, I'll get mixed up with you, yeah?
Right.
Mickie, you see, bring tonight, you see that Suzette Martin woman? She's supposed to be out of her job, you know. She caused a scandal in this country with that thing she do, you know. You understand? Why she still have a work for? Look how millions of dollars and shame people in this country through that this investigation she be going on. I mean, it's a bubble-head commissioner of police.
Yeah, you can't tell me you make a big bold move like that and you're still searching for evidence.
Boy, Mickie, that just goes to show the police yesterday. Yeah, this fella who we say that all that two gangs in this country, he can't be further from the truth, you know. I think it's the PCA director. He said, yeah, the criminal gang, the police gang. It look like them fighting for leadership in that organization right now, as far as I could see. And you touch on them divers, when these people go get justice, over 15 million or 17 million somewhere around there, all these men take brief and go with it, eh? All these lawyers, some of them get as much as $8 or $9 million they walk away with. And that's a damn sense for these people. And Rowdy and company and George, all these fellas, they can go and play golf. These people's family was left in a fight to suffer and dead, you know. You can imagine that kind of death, yeah? Boy, I wouldn't wish that on my own enemy. But they go out to pay for that something down the line. I hope you knew any government change hand. It's fire every man Jack there.
And caller, if it's one reason to make sure and go to the polls and vote them out, is that.
They have to go, Mikey. They have to go.
Thank you so much.
That's
Appreciate
the
it.
tip of the iceberg. Have a good day.
Thank you. Pleasant good evening.
Good evening, Mikey.
Good evening, sir.
To the full hit, brother.
Yes, brother, go ahead.
Mikey, let me tell you something. This is what you call crime of the century. Because I will tell you why I'm saying this. The King's Council lynched that people should be charged for criminal negligence. Corporate criminal negligence. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what this government said? That does not apply anything because it doesn't find our statute books that charge of criminal negligence. I want to draw your attention to something. If some fellas hold a fella and decide to beat him, right? And one man deliver the fatal blow, and when the person ended up dying, you did not charge him as being an accomplice, Mikey?
Of course.
This is a similar situation. But you see, the players who are involved in this is the associate of the Prime Minister, the Minister Penalty, so-called acting Prime Minister, and what have you. Where is OSHA supposed to submit a report then on this whole thing? We have not heard anything from it. Right? Coming to the guys, excuse me, is it the Philip fella who with the rig, the oil rig?
Yeah.
Yeah? You want to tell me, in this modern day of technology, they say that I think they put it off now to May this year, because what they're saying is that they don't have the expertise to go under there and to do some investigation, to search and whatnot, because of the high risk. You have underwater drones, I suppose that is applicable in this time, or cameras and what have you, could go underneath there and take it, but they say they're going to hire some professional person, some organizations who have the wherewithal to do that kind of research to get underwater, under the rig and all this kind of thing. It just goes to show that this government has absolutely no interest. Coming to the Petrotrain, the Sailor Refinery. I remember the procurement regulator, I think is her name. So there is nothing in place, and the water and the procurement regulations have been watered down. Is there anything that's involvement of the procurement regulator in this whole question of this thing about wanting to sell the refinery? We're not hearing anything coming from the procurement regulator. So this is something that is on the hand deal. And I am saying that something has to be done. And the DPP, let me tell you something. Since we delivered that letter, the ground report, when we delivered that letter to your office, you seem to be very silent on very pertinent issues, including because fingers have been pointed to here, Israel, and all these all these people are talking about the justice system, the judiciary, the DPP, everybody. And if you all cannot come out and speak out for the injustice that is taking place against people in this country, by top-ranking people, the Prime Minister, and all these associates, we're in serious trouble. So I am saying that the time has come, DPP. You have to get off of your butt and stand up for the people, because that's what the people put you there for. And if you're failing to do that, all these things tantamount to misbehavior in public office, because people just sit in the high office, getting big fat salary. And look, for instance, what's going on at politics. You only hear musical chairs, and they're transferring people and sending people on leave and water. And Rohan said another wouldn't come out and tell the population something is something is wrong there, and there's an investigation going on. You're not just saying, you're saying nothing. All you're saying is just a shift around a position and what other thing, Mikey. So
No, they're sending people home. They're sending the small folks home.
They're sending people home.
They're sending them home. Let's be honest, they're sending them home.
So, as I said, the only solution, Mikey, is to see the trade union movement, because look, I was there. I was in there with the Kamla Prasad Sessanen. And he was one of very critical of Kamla Prasad Sessanen. And say that the communication workers union, because even right now, the President, Secretary General, is saying that there will not be no part of that amalgamation with the trade union and the UNC. You understand? And he himself, Elder, is criticized, because every time we had a march, the ground report had a march in Port of Spain, and the media asked him, would you be participating? When he was the leader, he said, no, we're not involving in that. This same Elder. Understand what you do?
Yeah,
So the time has come to put our differences aside. This is crunch time. People, everybody has to get serious for that.
Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate that.
Okay, Mike. Take care, brother.
All right. Lines are still open. 494-0938. Yes, I know you're not playing golf, so you may not have the money to make your call, but the lines are open. And you could, of course, make your... Go right ahead. We have just a few minutes again. It'll take some few minutes here. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I Mickie K?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my contribution is I don't understand the commissioner. He make a statement on these bullets that they found missing. So how come that more important than the money missing from the finance minister? How we making a probe on that? How everything is just so it seems that we have PNM police who just blocking and being put in place to block certain things.
Yeah, and one of the most interesting things that Israel Khan Senior Counsel wrote is that if the Commissioner of Police was not authorized under the Firearms Act to issue the import permit to the gun dealer Luke Hadid to sell same to the SSA, why did the Ministry of National Security pay him for the guns?
Correct. That's totally correct. That sounded fishy to me.
Yeah.
Something on the hand went on there. And it seems that up to now you can't find the rest of the investigation or whatever thing they have. I don't understand it. That's something wrong with that big picture with the police service. Something wrong with them. And to top it off, look at vehicles that they have. Toyota have hold back from them because they owe Toyota money. So where all this money going? You understand?
Exactly. That's the question, my friend. Where's the money going?
Where's the money going? You have a blessed night.
Same to you, my friend. Yeah, thank you so much. Hey, still going to squeeze in a few calls, but don't forget Vitamin XL D3 provides the most natural and absorbable form of vitamin D, which promotes whole body health, which is crucial for cellular health, especially regarding the cells of the immune system. Every cell in your body needs vitamin D3 to function properly, so please pick up your bottle of Vitamin XL D3 today. 494-0938 or 225-9790. Before we make our way out of here, what say you? You heard the Senior Counsel, you heard Couva South MP and the UNC Shadow Minister of Labor, the divers. Don't forget this week, Master Control, just one more time so people can know about this motorcade. It's this Saturday. Please join in for justice, join in for accountability, join in, of course, to pay tribute. It is, of course, 7 a.m. the Reed Lane and start of the motorcade at the office of the Member of Parliament for Couva South. That's Camden Road, Couva. And at 9 a.m. the barrier platform in front of Heritage Petroleum, which is Petrotrin. So please come, be a part of it for the families and tribute to those divers. Join in for justice. Very, very serious thing. I mean, again, you can't write this, you can't make it up. This is the reality, these are the facts, this is the truth of the matter. And we're in a mess. Yeah, we're in a mess. And I think we know that. We're in a mess. So what are we going to do about it? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Well, stay locked on. The action has started. Folks, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the program this evening. As always, we try our best to make sure and bring you the information unfiltered, undiluted, as raw as possible in your interest so you would know exactly what to do. It is for you to live better, so it is for you to make the right choice. Again, it is for you, for all of us who want to live better, and it is for you to make the right choice. Your vote, your choice. Understand there are consequences. Some people are saying another 5 years, we can't even take another 5 minutes of this administration. And if anything, when you calculate how things have worked out, and the fact that your interest has never been a priority, you know quite well what you have to do when that time comes. And I don't think we need to wait any longer, because you see what's happening. The longer we just allow these people to feel that we are comfortable, then they have the confidence to do us anything. Our refinery being sold to some Nigeria company. I mean, come on. This isn't about the fact that it's a Nigerian company, but it's a fact about it's a questionable characters who have even been barred and suspended from trading on 2 of the stock exchanges. These are people who, I mean, you have to ask yourself, come on, man. You for real? And if you had to get a job, you had to carry a certificate of character. Imagine that. If you have to get something done in this country, you can't even carry your driver's license alone. They want 2 pieces of ID, as though the driver's license is some international piece of document. They want all of that. They want to make sure everything about you is right up. But you dealing with questionable characters. Characters where it is that when you look at it globally, they have done so much damage. But you want to give them our refinery to run. And added to the fact, to add insult to injury, they have no intention of picking any of our local professionals or any subcontractor or any workers from Trinidad and Tobago to work in that field, in that company. Imagine that. Folks, until next week, Tuesday, again, we are working on extra time because, as you know, we are getting closer and closer to that big day when you will have to make that choice. So again, I want to thank you. Be safe. Until next Tuesday, the action has started. Take care.
Mickie K, Mickie K.